welcome back to the We Are City channel for our tactics video on Roberto de Zerbi's tactics. It is a tactic we used in Season 4 career mode, which was pretty successful. And I wanted to bring it to you guys so you guys could play it as well, because I know everyone always asks, a lot of people always ask, what tactics do you play with, what formation, how did it work? So this is the Roberto de Zerbi tactic. You want to go with a 4-3-3 defend. But in the midfield, I've got an attacking midfielder, a central midfielder, and a holding midfielder. And basically, all I've done is I've moved, it's usually 2 DMs and a centre mid. I've moved the centre mid to Cam, and I've moved the right holding midfielder to centre midfield. I've also moved the fullbacks narrower, more in tight, and into wing back position. So you've got a right wing back and a left wing back. You can look at that there, and you can replicate that. Tactical vision, we've gone with custom for Roberto de Zerbi because he is a bit of a mixture of both. You can swap it between, go whatever you want, but as soon as you put these tactics in, your tactical vision will turn to custom because of the way you play. It won't let you do these tactics not under a custom tactical vision. I've tried it. He won't let you do it. You can see the little white bars next to depth. If you don't have your depth between there, it doesn't happen. So defensive style, you want on constant pressure. We'll talk about constant pressure because there is something you have to change this. That is like non-stop pressing the opposition, hampering to win the ball back, and you've got to play a lot of possession-based football. If you don't, it'll wipe your team out. Team width and a 40. Not too wide, not too narrow. A little bit more narrow than 50, obviously. Depth-wise, 70, a little bit higher than usual. Nice high defensive line. And, of course, Brian in real life play that with Lewis Dunk, don't they, under Roberto de Zerbi? And maybe Adam Webster or Van Hecken. They're not really quick players. However, in this series on FIFA on FC24, we had Ruben Diaz, and he was a disaster on a high line. Absolute disaster. A slow build-up. You want to take your time with the build-up, and especially that constant pressure. You need to keep the ball. You don't want to be throwing it away really quickly. Forward runs. Now, this means there's going to be lots of passing angles. Your fullbacks are going to be bombing on, going inside. Everyone is going to make a passing angle in behind the defence. Always going to have someone to run onto a pass. And it's a different style of football to the Pep Guardiola tactics we've used in previous seasons. With 70, so quite wide. You want those wingers quite wide. They come inside every now and again. But you want those wingers quite wide. Players in the box, just 4 away from the normal one. Not too many players. You don't want to overcrowd the box. Corners just 1 below. And these are the tactics we usually use anyway for these things. And also free kicks 1 below as well. Although, I mean, with someone like Erling Haaland in the box, you can score goals like that. Let's get on to the player instructions. So that is how the side is looking. Personnel-wise, I've gone with Doku, Alvarez and Musiala. That was our front 3 throughout the season. Phil Foden playing the attacking midfield role with Kevin De Bruyne in a deeper role, the captain, and Rico Lewis alongside him. That was our midfield 3 for the season. And then onto the back 4, strong back 4 of Valentin Barco, Joško Vardiol, John Stones and Jan Kuto. These are the personnel I used, Edison and goal. And you don't have to use the same personnel. Of course, you can play this with Brighton, can't you? So, on the goalkeeper, you want the goalkeeper to be very expansive. You want him to do the Jason Steele role, which was Edison in this case. Comes across as a sweeper keeper. Always looking to keep attacks moving. Looking for that. Because you're playing a high line, you need your keeper bombing forward, trying to cut those long passes out. The wing back, you want him on joint attack and mixed attack. Mixed attack is very important because Roberto de Zerbi's fullbacks, they come inside and they go outside as well. So he joins the attack as Jan Kuto. Now, you could play like Brighton do sometimes Joel Veltman and play a more defensive player on the right side. We've played Callum Doyle on the left-hand side this season in the career mode and made him the more defensive player just because of how our personnel suited. And the same for Valentin Barco. You want to join attack and mix the attack so you can make underlapping and overlapping runs. But you guys can swap that around. You can sometimes, if you want to be a more defensive player, more defensive fullback on one side and not the other. As for the centre-backs, we have gone with just basic, no instructions for the centre-backs, keeping things the same. No instructions for them. Rico Lewis, who's your holding midfielder. Cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking. And the big one is deep line playmaker. Now, it doesn't always work exactly to Roberto de Zerbi's style because de Zerbi does like to actually have his 2 holding midfielders, his 2 midfielders play in the shadow of the opposition, which is behind the players. Usually they actually come towards the ball. He likes to play them behind, and sometimes that deep line playmaker doesn't work so well. In that case, you want them to stay pretty rigid in that situation. And if you do that, then you can just stick to position and not play deep line playmaker on. It's up to you how you play, and if you want to really replicate de Zerbi's style perfectly. Kevin De Bruyne, unbalanced, he can get forward and get back, playing the Pascal Gross role. Drift wide because it's Kevin De Bruyne. Again, personnel situations change things. If it's De Bruyne, and maybe even with Pascal Gross, likes to get into those wide areas and whip crosses in. But stay on the edge of the box. His ability to shoot from range is very much important. But you don't have to run drift wide. That is just something I like to do with Kevin De Bruyne because of his crossing ability. And the same with Pascal Gross or whichever personnel. It depends how you build your team. And your tactics have to be adapted to your team. Phil Foden, I've got him in getting to the box because I want him scoring goals. Joao Pedro can play in this position. You can play, of course, Adam Lallana. It would be for Brighton in this position. We've got Phil Foden, free roam, and get into the box. Get into positions, get here, there, and everywhere, Phil Foden. Pick up passes on the left-hand side, pick up passes on the right-hand side. Join, link up with a striker, get in the attacking position, score goals. We want Foden to do everything. And towards the end of Season 4, Phil Foden really did do that, and he was a really key player. On the left-hand side, Jamal Musiala. He is come back on defence, so he's helping out the defence. Stay wide and get in behind. Play the Mitoma role and get into the box. Now, sometimes Mitoma does drift inside, so you can change stay wide to cut inside or balance width. That's usually the one that I'd switch between balance width and stay wide. Depending on who you're playing against, you might identify a poor fullback and you say, right, we want Musiala to come inside. But I like him to stay wide, get him behind, come back on defence. With his dribbling ability, he just works his way into the box. And the same goes for Jeremy Doku on the other side. Their dribbling ability that they have on FC24 means you can make them stay wide and you can dribble from the wide area inside with them. If you want to make runs inside, you can do. You can change that. But yeah, I like them to play that way, and I like them to get into the box as well. Get in that box and score goals with wide men. That is what we want to see. And Jeremy Doku playing the Sully March role. Then finally up top, Julian Alvarez. We've got him on getting behind, stay forward and stay central. He's the focal point. And we want him to stay there constantly, be in that attacking position, be around the team to lead the line and find him in those situations. And that is how the team is looking. Now, I did say something about the constant pressure, didn't I? That we do have it on constant pressure. One thing you can do to combat that is maybe when you've gone 1-0 up, 2-0 up, or if you're having a game where you're struggling keeping possession, I would change from constant pressure. Let me just swap these players around. I'd change from constant pressure to a defensive formation. And everything's exactly the same apart from you go with 2 holding midfielders and a central midfielder. The basic 4-3-3 defend. I would do that just to be a bit more defensive. And there's only one massive change you do, and that is when it comes to the instructions. Because everything else, De Bruyne, Foden and Rico Lewis just changed the midfield slightly. But when you get to instructions, tactics, you want to go to pressure and heavy touch. Everything stays the same, but rather than constant pressure, you want pressure on heavy touch. Tactics, instructions, everything stays the same. Just that one defensive style changes. That means that your players won't be absolutely knackered after every game because it absolutely rinses the stamina playing constant pressure. And if you've not got 70% possession and you're struggling to keep possession, then you need to switch to pressure on heavy touch, because otherwise, by the 30-minute mark, or before you even get to half-time, your team's absolutely finished and they can't do any running. And that is a big issue. That is a really, really big issue if it doesn't work out. Now, you guys let us know in the comments down below, as always, how this formation and tactic works for you. Can you replicate Roberto De Zerbi's style, perhaps in a better circumstance than us? And if you want to see examples of playing Roberto De Zerbi football and you haven't seen Season 4 of the career mode, go and watch Season 4 with De Zerbi inside. Thank you for watching, guys. Please like the video if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.